And that's the trailer. Let's see what Sweepy thinks. Sweepy? 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 What do you think? It's time to mark your calendar with big, bold letters because yes, Forsaken Realms has gotten its release date and it's July 27th. We have waited now and the time is almost here. Just under 2 months away, and fun enough, I have my vacation there at that time, so I'll be able to play from day one. Or even minute one for that matter. Now, the trailer for Titan Rock, from Titan Rock, sorry, the developers, is linked in the description below so that you can watch the full thing with sound. Also, a link to the Steam page.
The game, the game, the game! What is the game? What is Forsaken Realms Vahrin's Call? We're gonna go through the frequently asked questions and see what's what. The question is, what type of game is Vahrin's Call? And Vahrin's Call is a single-player, story-driven action RPG. And I would also include adventure in that, so it's an action-adventure RPG even. Now, why is it called Forsaken Realms? Answer: the world of Leda is entirely shrouded by darkness on one side, while scorched by the endless sun on the other. These incredibly hostile areas are known as the Forsaken Realms. Now, that's where the answer ends. So I actually reached out to the developer and asked, but if one side of the planet is shrouded by darkness and the other is scorched by endless sun, where do humans live? And so on. And he answered quite basically that there's between these two extreme sides, there's a band going across the planet, I'm guessing, or whatever, where humans can live, and this is where the world of Leda is. Where is the game set? The game takes place within the war-torn city of Vahrin. You play as a lone mercenary, seeking to liberate the city, whilst claiming your fair share of gold and riches along the way. Now, what games have you drawn inspiration from? The Forsaken Realms draws many inspirations, but the most influential are probably Fable, The Elder Scrolls, Lord of the Rings, and Warhammer. We wanted to create a brutal, muddy, war-torn world where threats lie around every corner, but one where humanity, humor, and hope can still endure and even thrive. Who is developing Vahrin's Call? Vahrin's Call is being developed by Titan Rock, a self-founded indie game studio based in the southwest of England, UK. And how many are working on Vahrin's Call? How many developers? There are 7 developers working on the game. They do not have a publisher at this time. Vahrin's Call will release as a full premium title. Does Vahrin's Call have voice acting? Yes, Vahrin's Call features characters fully voiced in English by real humans. And what engine are you using to develop Vahrin's Call? Vahrin's Call is being developed in Unreal Engine 4. How long has Vahrin's Call been in development? Vahrin's Call is self-founded and was conceived in 2014. It has been in full development since then with a tiny team of incredibly driven and passionate developers. And that's about it for the game. What do you guys think about the Forsaken Realms and the game setting? Please, put your thoughts down in the comments. Let's move on. The exploration. The fundamentals of any action-adventure RPG, I would argue. And where all of this, as I just said, takes place in the world of Leda, and you're gonna get to explore this, and it's vast, but not an open world like Witcher 3 or Skyrim. It has big open zones, kind of like Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning or Avowed, and honestly, I'm all for it. After playing a few open world RPGs like Assassin's Creed Shadows, Crimson Desert, and many others, I just think it's a nice change of pace with a semi-open world. It's refreshing, you could say. The game still has its different biomes, enemy variety, and beautiful handcrafted environments. Now each zone has its own quests, hidden treasures, and not so hidden treasures, and a few dungeons here and there, of course, where you have to avoid traps to get to the treasure. A puzzle or two where you have to solve something to get to the treasure. Now I think about it, it's a lot of treasures to get to. But that's important, and we're gonna get to that later down the video. But for now, let's continue on with the puzzles, because the developers have said they didn't lean too heavily into that, whatever that means. I'm guessing it's just that the puzzles are not gonna be that complex. It's gonna be pretty simple, and that's okay. Now I think the world looks really good, if a bit too bright and colorful, maybe at times. But I guess you can't blame the Brits, or some Brits at least in this case, for wanting some color and sunshine in their game. You know, escapism and all that. Well, speaking of the world and the exploration that you're gonna go on in this game, let's talk about quests. Because when you explore, you're gonna encounter some quests. Well, first you're gonna encounter the NPCs, and then they're gonna tell you, do this for me! And much like Skyrim, for example, quests won't be shown on the compass or a map, at least not to my knowledge that I've seen so far in the gameplay videos. So, with that said, speak to everyone, speak to every NPC you find, and maybe they'll just have a quest for you. Now, you do have a journal that tracks your active and completed quests, and there is a quest marker, but those can be toggled on and off. So if you prefer to have a more exploration kind of feeling, where you have to actually listen to the NPCs and to know where you're gonna go, or just randomly stumble upon the quest and accidentally complete it like I do in most of the games where I have that, yeah, you can do that. Yeah. An important note while talking about quests and exploration and all that: fast travel. Fast travel does exist, and much like Witcher 3, you will have to find signposts, or yeah, you know, those signs that point one way or the other, which way you're gonna go on a road. Those signposts are your fast travel, and that's important to note, but there is one key difference, I say. These signposts you can actually see. I don't know how many of those signposts or whatever I walked past in Witcher 3, not thinking about them, not noticing them, all that, but yeah, in Vahrin's Call you can actually see them. Now, another important note for questing and such is that we don't know how long the game is, but after you have finished the story, you will be able to continue questing and collecting things that you have not found yet. And that is I love that.
I'll wager a guess.
More
You've
games
never laid
need that,
eyes upon a
especially in
girl
this
before.
kind of category of
They're quite the
games.
sight, aren't they?
How about that combat? I'm sure you've seen some combat in the gameplay already, and from the gameplay that I've seen, that what has been shown to me, it looks very fluid and semi-fast. I am interested in how the combat is with a controller. Mostly I've seen the control scheme, it seems to be from keyboard and mouse, and I'm interested in how the controller will handle. Mainly how you actually use the skills. Now, spells and potions have a radial wheel? Is that how you say it? But I haven't seen anything for weapon skills. Yeah, I'm thinking like there's a slam dunk basically with a shield where the character jumps forward and slams the shield down into the ground to knock enemies down. There's also big wide sweeps with a sword, two-handed swords. Maybe that's a heavy attack now when I think about it, but I haven't seen any specific skills for it, only spells and potions. Now the switch between weapons seems really fluid, and using spells and potions looks really fast and on point. That's the most important thing. Now, speaking of switching weapons and all that, bows. I wonder if there's aim assist when using bow. Let me check. Yes. Yes, there is. Nice. Only one spell can be slotted at a time, as you can see, up in the corner there, in the left corner. But you can quickly switch between each spell that you have, and it looks really good. Now, of course, I'm wondering if the radial wheel that you see is the only one, or if you can actually switch between different wheels. Now, if you can go left to find more spells, or right, or whatever, to find even more spells, or are those on the wheel all the spells that you can equip at the same time, or what is it? I don't. As you can see, there are multiple spells that you can use, and how do you acquire them? Well, skills and spells are found, basically. I debated having this part in the exploration section of the video. Why? Well, because that's how you acquire the new skills, so yeah, it made sense. But I'm guessing it's not only exploration, but that's one of the main ways. I'm guessing you can also gain the gear and spells through quests, different quests. But I'm not 100% sure about that. Now, one of the things that you can see here is that there's also a map. You can bring out a map and actually see how many skill books you have found in the area, if you have found them all or not. So that's great. I love that. Being able to track that so that you can leave an area without feeling, oh, I missed a spell or skill that I really would have liked to have. You don't want to miss anything, you know? Now, as the game doesn't have any classes, not any fixed classes, any character can use a spell as long as you have the mana, and any character can use melee weapons. It's kind of like Skyrim, where you use a sword or a mace or one-handed weapon, two-handed weapon, whatever. You're gonna get more skilled with that thing. There's also traps and potions to use, which is really cool. You can use potions to throw at enemies. I'm gonna get into that more later on when talking about crafting. But for now, let's move on to something else that is I noticed very much when looking at the combat videos. Interactions and UI. And when I say interactions, I mean with objects, looting, talking to NPCs, that kind of thing. Now, harvesting and picking up items, it's pretty simple. Just pick the item and some text pops up telling you what you picked up. Now, looting from chests and enemies were a bit of a surprise. It's all instant. And considering that your inventory is infinite, like Elden Ring or Knights of the Old Republic, you're not gonna have a big issue with your inventory space, at least. And with enemies, you don't even have to interact with them to loot. Unless your sword to their face counts, but that's a whole other story. Now, looting works with bow and arrow as well, and I'm guessing spells as well. And it does save you the cleanup job after killing half a dozen enemies. From the videos I have seen, the voice acting is decent and works well with the setting. This goes for the writing as well, the script basically. Face animations, far as I've seen, are old, Is that the nice way of saying outdated, perhaps? Now, the animations overall during conversations are very simple, but they serve their purpose, and honestly, it's kind of old school at this point. Again, reminds me kind of Knights of the Old Republic. I'm not gonna judge the animations too hard. I mean, it's a small indie developer, not really fair, I would argue. Now, animation during combat, those look good. The UI while exploring and combat looks good. It's kind of a minimalistic in a way, because every UI element while exploring or during combat is located in the top part. You know, the health, stamina, mana, your equipment or equipped spells, compass, track quests, and the amount of health potions and traps you have. Now the last one I would argue is not even needed, but it's a small thing on screen, so it's not a bother. UI elements for inventory is not minimalistic. It's informative, and I like it. It does look a bit simple, the style that is, it's very simple, as is the text font, but it gives you everything you need to know in informational text. Your character level, damage from your weapons, both your primary weapon and secondary weapon, and of course your weapon configuration 1 and 2, because you can have up to 2 different weapons equipped. It also says which type of damage you do, slash damage or pierce damage or blunt damage. It says it gives you your armor weight, which will impact your distance while dodging, and the speed when dodging. Also, it shows you your resistance to different things, both physical and magical. And perhaps the most important info, the amount of money you have. The gold. Or coins, I guess. But you can't be an adventurer without a fat stack of gold. Fat stack of coins, I guess. Whatever. As for inventory management, that's a bit tougher, as I don't feel like I can give a fair assessment until I actually used it. It's very simple and looks easy enough to navigate both with a controller and a mouse, so that's good. And looking at the bottom of inventory screen, we see button commands for different things, and I love it. I love that there is a way to mark things as junk and mark things as seen. And the other button prompts are also very nice. The crafting looks simple, and there's nothing wrong with that in this type of game. Dismantling for materials, upgrading traps and spells, it's all good. I'm looking forward to seeing more, or rather experiencing the upgrading for traps and spells, because I really want to see what kind of things will they involve with. Is it just damage upgrade, or is there something more here? But other than that, well, it's pretty simple. You choose what you want to create, and you see if you have the necessary materials for it, or if you don't, you buy it or dismantle things so that you get the materials, and then you press the button and you craft it. Hopefully it's going to be better than what you have. I haven't seen any upgrading for your weapons though, so I'm interested in knowing if that's a thing. Maybe that's something I could do for a future video on the game before it's actually released. But let's move on to potion making, because that one is much more interesting. You can choose between different effects that you want, and then either use it on your enemies or yourself. Now, I do wonder if we will be able to make enemies stronger with this, like enhancing their elemental resistance. Say, for example, you take a potion that gives +2 fire resistance, and you throw that at an enemy, and your fire spells will deal less damage to them. I haven't seen any potions that will increase your armor, but let's say you make a health potion and throw that at the enemy to heal them. You would want a fair fight, right? Right? You're a fair mercenary, you're a fair fighter. No backstabbing here. Maybe on occasion. But anyway, I've seen similar potion making before, but most games seems to lock you out of choosing certain combinations between effects. Vahrin's Call doesn't seem to do that. And that's awesome! I love it. I'm gonna enjoy doing potions in this game, I think.
After all that, what are my overall impressions? Well, not to make this video any longer, I'm just gonna say that my overall impressions from the trailer and all the other footage I've been privileged enough to get a look at and see, they are really good. My impressions are really good. Enemy variety looks good, animations looks good, for the most part. And boss fights look really nice, really intriguing bosses from the footage. And the design of just about everything is just mwah. The armor, the shields, the weapons, the bosses, the enemies, it just looks really, really good. I can't wait to get my hands on Forsaken Realms Vahrin's Call on July 27th. And as I said, I'm on vacation when it releases and I could very well be streaming as soon as I'm able that day. And I've been Swippy92, have a great life and I hope to see you in future videos. Now the only question remains, will you answer the call?